Okay, this is all about BRRR, B-R-R-R. What does it mean? What does it stand for? You've maybe heard of it. No, it's not that you caught a cold. What you're going to learn today is all about BRRR, which stands for, let me just scoot back here, buy, renovate, rent, and refinance is what we're talking about here. So what you're going to learn today is how to turn a standard fix and flip into long-term cash flowing property. You're going to learn how to buy BRRRR deals by leveraging other people's capital. You're going to learn how to navigate the process of finding a renter, renovating, and securing new funding. You're going to learn all about when you should do a BRRRR instead of doing a fix and flip. And this is really important, how to save thousands of dollars in taxes. So what is a BRRRR? I talked about it earlier. It's an investment strategy for cash flowing properties. It's an acronym. It stands for buy, renovate, rent, and refinance. Okay, so the idea here is getting into rental properties with little or no money down. This is kind of the mecca of real estate investing, how you can leverage someone else's capital in order for you to get a deal. So how can you get a rental property with little to no money down? And this is a great strategy if you're looking to generate cash flow, which is really the end goal for most real estate investors, is getting that cash flow. So you plan to flip properties to get cash. That's what most investors are saying is, hey, I'm going to go flip some properties or wholesale some properties to get some cash, and then I can actually buy rental properties. The problem with that is each time you do that, you pay taxes on the money you make every time you do the flip. So that can be detrimental to growing the capital that you think that you need to end up doing a rental property. So there's a way around this. So you actually change the strategy. Rather than doing wholesales to do rental or to doing wholesales or doing fix and flips to do rental properties, you move right to doing the rental properties so that you don't pull out that equity and get taxed on it. And one thing to keep in mind is if you're keeping your day job, which most people need to or should, once you get that extra money, you may put you into a higher tax bracket. So you're actually paying more in taxes on everything, including your earned income, than you were before. So with this, you move right into the rentals and you can defer the taxes to actually get the cash flow. So let me give you an example. So back in the day, this is before BRRRR, this was before a lot of these things, before a lot of hard money lenders were out there doing stuff. I started getting 80-20 loans. So you got a first loan and you got a second loan, and I would get those on rental properties. So a traditional lender would give 80% and then a secondary lender would give 20%. I'd get 100% of the financing. Now, unfortunately, they wouldn't give me the money for repairs. And so I had to get properties that didn't need a lot of repairs or do a lot of the repairs myself. But I could get into the property with zero down. So I'd have to pay closing costs. I'd have to pay some in repairs. So the process flow, you find a property, you get a hard money loan, then you find a tenant, then you refinance the property with long-term financing. This long-term financing can be traditional like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or it can also be private where we have some insurance companies and those things will actually fund those properties for you once the property's renovated. And you've got a tenant inside. That's a big thing. You've got to make sure that the tenant's inside there as well. Lender qualifications. What do you typically take out financing lenders look for? So this is the takeout financing. You get pre-approved to take out financing on the traditional loan through a specific lender. It's got a specialty lender. You have to have good credit to qualify. So around 660 credit score or greater, no lates in the last 12 months, no judgments, no collections. You've got to be employed, and you'll pay for the loan cost to the traditional lender. Here's kind of the fee schedule and those things to be aware of. $299 processing fee, $996 underwriting fee, $375 tax, flood, certificate wire documentation fee, and 0 to 2 points depending upon the loan. Now, all these are subject to change, so don't just fix onto these, but this is typically what a traditional lender is going to charge you in order to do that takeout financing loan. Now, that has nothing to do with us. This is a different lender that's going to be doing the takeout financing for you. Interest rates. Let's talk a little bit about interest rates right now, and rates are always subject to change. Last check rates were around 4.75 or 4.5%. So the rate is higher than what you're going to get on a traditional loan. But anytime you drive down the freeway and you see, hey, rates as low as 3%, that's what are called prime rates. That's for the absolute perfect borrower. If you're not the perfect borrower, meaning you don't have an 800 FICO score, you're going to pay more for that. And then if it's an investment property, pay more for that. So they're called hits to the rate. So just plan on paying more more. Again, you get pre-approved for the takeout financing before you close with a hard money loan. That's also important, so you know you've got the takeout financing. With that, you're going to get a 30-year fixed loan once you get the takeout financing, and there are products with no limit to the number of properties that are out there. So some people may ask, what if I have too many properties? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they used to have a limit of 10. One thing to keep in mind is you can put 10 in your name and 10 in your spouse's name, or 10 in a friend's name, so you can work together on those, and then have an LLC that works with you guys working together on it. But if you do that, there are also products from lenders like insurance companies that don't limit the number of properties, but you are going to pay a little bit more in the rate. So pro tip, put half in your wife's name. We talked about that, and don't sign it alone. Both of you together. So let's talk a little bit about tenants. The requirement to have tenants, there's got to be a tenant in there. And here's one of the big reasons. You actually want the rent income to count towards your overall income, which is going to help you qualify for the property. That's one thing people kind of worry about is, oh no, my debt to income ratio is too low. Well, this rental income is actually going to help boost that up so it could justify paying for that. Pre-approval for takeout, you want to get pre-approved. We have some lenders that can help you get pre-approved. You're going to need a current lease agreement, and the rents are paid directly to DHM, will be applied to the loan payment. So when you have a loan with us, the payments are going to actually go to us from the rent until you get your takeout financing, which is going to apply to your overall loan. So it's not like we're taking that money from you. It applies to the loan, to the interest first, and then to the principal if there's more capital on that. So it'll just pay down that loan, which will make it easier for the refinance to happen. And then once you make the refinance, then those rents are coming to you. So the money from rent is added to your income to help you qualify. You can then get the traditional loan, and we have some referrals that we can give over to you as well. I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but this is the debt to income ratio. This is how much you owe in debt versus how much you make, and this new rent is credited towards your income. So this will offset the payment in most cases. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear on this. The idea is rather than you buying a property and doing it as a rehab or doing it as a fix and flip, keep that same good property, get the money to do the rehab and to do the purchase, and get qualified for the takeout financing before you even get your original hard money loan. You then get the rehab and the purchase all taken care of. Once you're done with that property, you put a renter in there. The lender will probably require that while the renter's in there, when you haven't paid them off yet, those go towards their payments, which is totally acceptable. And then you can do the takeout financing, where you then get a new lender to refinance you. So you have little to no money into this property, and you're going to get the cash flow coming once you get that refinance to happen, and you don't deal with any tax consequences that are happening on the property. You'll just take them as they come. You'll just have built-in equity into the property. So the other thing is seasoning. This is something to be aware of. Seasoning is where the lender wants you to own the property for 90 days to 6 months, something like that. This is not a law. This is a lender requirement. Some lenders require or have seasoning requirements. A lot of the lenders that we can refer you over to for the takeout financing don't have any type of seasoning requirements. So it's important to keep that in mind because the seasoning can get you into a problem. So let's just talk a sample deal here. So let's say you're purchasing a home for $75,000 and the rehab is $25,000, and the ARV is $175,000 once it's all fixed up. A $1,100 cash to close is approximately how much you'd have to come in with. If you have a 660 credit score, the refinance 80%, so the loan amount could be $140. You'll pay off those $75. You'll pay off the $25, $10,000 in closing costs, $10,000 in payment. There's $20,000 more equity than what you actually owe on the loan. You can't get that out as cash. That's one of the misnomers. You can't get it out as cash. There's no cash out on BRRRR. You can only get out of it what you put into the deal. You can't take cash out. And that's a big misconception when it comes to BRRRR type deals. What you're trying to do is get all your costs paid for, so you're into it for little to no money down on this rental property that's going to be producing income for you along the way. So, but you have to have a good deal with equity in order to get the deals. The question I get asked quite a bit is, what if you get the hard money loan, you fix up the property, you rent it, and you can't end up getting the loan? Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure that you already have the takeout financing approval prior to the time you actually get your hard money loan. That's really important. So that's going to cover the majority of the problems. But let's say that you did that and for some reason you lost your job. Well, what we're going to do is, worst case, you can sell the property with a tenant inside and you're going to sell it to another cash flow investor, or you can just wait it out and get the tenant out and then sell the property as a fixed up property as well. So it's something to be aware of, but I think it's a really low risk, but you always do have the property and can sell it. This is the kind of the mecca, the 100% financing BRRRR. So if you can get a deal where the purchase, the rehab, the closing costs, and the payments can get funded by your hard money lenders who have little to no money in it, or you get the rehab money from a 0% interest credit card from credit card finance. Once the work's done, if you've created enough equity, there's got to be at least 20% equity in there, then you're going to be able to do this type of a BRRRR strategy. Then the lender will fund enough to pay the hard money or 0%. They'll actually pay that off. Now, what we're talking about with this takeout lender is we're talking about a different lender. There's two loans that are happening here. You've got the loan that's happening for the hard money that's going to give you the money for the purchase and hopefully the rehab. And then you're going to refinance that property into a new long-term loan, a 30-year loan. That's what we refer to as a takeout loan. What that loan's doing is taking out the existing financing. It's paying off your existing or taking out your hard money lender. And then the takeout financing, which is your long-term 30-year loan, is going to be a much lower interest rate. And that's when you're going to start getting the cash flow and forming that cash flow. So then you'll be into the deal with little to no money down. And this is huge for real estate investors. This allows you to buy multiple properties where you can start getting cash flow on each one of those properties because you're not putting money into each one. So you can start multiplying that cash flow time after time after time. And that's where it gets really exciting as a real estate investor. But like with anything, it just really starts with finding a really good deal. You've got to find a really good deal. That's what it's going to come down to. So in today's discussion, we've talked about how to turn a standard fix and flip into long-term cash flowing property, how to buy BRRRR deals by leveraging other people's capital, how to navigate the process of finding a renter, renovating, securing funding for new deals, and when you should do a BRRRR instead of doing a fix and flip, and how to save thousands of dollars in taxes. Okay, so a couple of things I want to talk about here. A few comments I wanted to talk about. The 0% money, one would have to have great credit. Zelda, no, not great credit, but decent credit. Probably over 600, 650 is what you need. But you can also work with a credit partner where they can get the line of credit and bring that money. So that's a really good question. John, yes, you can do a 1031 exchange to get around the taxes as well. The downside of the 1031 is just timing. It just takes, what I don't like with the 1031 exchange, unless you already have a new property in mind, it's difficult sometimes to secure that property and find it within 90 days. Yes, you can put them on there, but rental properties I find are a little more finicky. But yes, you can use a 1031 exchange to get around the tax consequences of that, which is another option for sure. So questions, if you guys have questions on the BRRRR, please type them in here so we can get these for you. You cannot take out the equity as cash. So no, it depends, Thule. I'm saying your name wrong, but I'm not sure how to say it right. It depends on how you're structuring the deal, but you can't take cash out if you're doing the refinance. The refinance or the takeout financing can only pay hard costs that have been paid into the property. Think of it this way. The new lender that's doing the loan for the takeout, the 30-year, they want to make sure that all the money they're giving is money that actually went inside into the property. They don't want to give you money. That's considered what's called a cash out refinance. They don't want you to do that. The only way you're going to get your cash out or equity out is if you sell the property or if you get a second loan on the property, which is very hard to do on rental properties. If you want to get some cash, the 0% financing or 0% credit card financing is going to be the best way to go. If you got more questions on this, please chat them in here to help you out. So if you missed last week, it was all about earnest money and created favorable buyers contracts. You'll want to go back and watch the replay. It is well worth your time. Just go to Do Hard Money. And while you're in there, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and type in all about earnest money and you will find it. Please like the video and leave some comments there as well. Again, if you've got questions on the BRRRR, we want to make sure we more than cover it. So we talked about what we talked about last week was the overview of earnest money, how to decide how much earnest money to put down, how to practically guarantee you never lose earnest money again, how to write purchase contracts favoring the buyer, and I gave everybody a free copy of that. So this is a repair checklist we want to get you the copy of purchase contract. So next live cast, what would you like to hear? Wholetailing, reverse wholetailing, determining repair costs, coronavirus investing, how to analyze rentals, wholesaling remotely, choosing a good contractor, seller financing, contractor bids, determining rental prices, business partner deep dive, preparing yourself to buy cash flow investing, how to make others offers without seeing properties, auction properties, closing a deal, all the players, sales skills, sales negotiating at the kitchen table, subject to deals, or something else. Please, if there's something in here you would like to see, please type that in. We're going to be using this. It's really helpful. I'm also going to send you over this specific link. Oh, I think I didn't change in that slide. This is something you guys are going to want. This is the repair checklist. If you want a free copy of my repair checklist, the repairs to do on the property, go ahead and check it out. You can get it just right there. I sent a link over. Yes, thank you. How to analyze rentals and contractor bids. Fantastic. Actually, we've got that built into our software as well. But please keep it coming. Please let us know what you'd like to hear for next week's live cast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share the live cast link on YouTube with several friends. Also, check out my podcast called Income Hacker. We do a podcast weekly. I have expert guests and a variety of different topics that are on there. So if you have listened to Income Hacker, please put it in here in the chat as well. Looks like I missed a few chats. I want to jump back to New York, moving into North. Okay, areas with high. Okay, we talked about that. 0% money, 1031 exchange. We talked about that. Takeout financing. We talked about that. Fantastic. Anybody, if you've got comments, if you've got questions, please type them in here. In the meantime, you can also get the jump in and get the Income Hacker. Still a little confused on getting the refinance part of the BRRR. Do you have any literature I can read a little bit more on it? Well, let's cover this because that's the main point here. So the idea is there's two loans. So to answer your question, I don't have a bunch of literature on that because there's different lenders and they're going to have different programs. So I'm giving you just generalized information, and then we will refer you over to, if you're a member, we'll refer you over to specific lenders that you can talk to that will be able to do that for you. So what happens is before you do a hard money loan, we'll refer you over as part of the due diligence to a takeout financing loan. And what they're going to do is qualify you based upon the rental income you're going to be getting from this new property to say, yes, once the property is repaired and once it's rented, we'll be able to finance you. And then you move forward and you get the loan from the hard money lender, and you close on the property, you get all the repairs done, and then you put a tenant into the property. Once that tenant is paid rent, you can then go back to that takeout finance lender that you got approved with already and say, let's go ahead and close on this. Then what they're going to do is close, and they're going to pay off the hard money lender. And once the hard money lender is paid off, then you're going to be making that cash flow. And that the loan is going to pay off everything that you owe to the hard money lender, hopefully all of it. If there's extra equity, that equity has to stay in the property. You can't take cash out. The takeout finance lender is just going to pay the hard cost that went into the property. So, Tuli, does that make sense? If not, please chat us up here. It's a little confusing getting the refinance part. Do you have any? Okay. And then Zelda would like to know how to buy property and rent from this location. You mean from any location, Zelda, meaning buy and rent a property anywhere in the United States? Not living there, out-of-state rentals. Is that what you're asking? Please clarify on that. Okay, what you want to hear for next week's topic, next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, please type in what you want to hear. Make sure you go get a copy of the repair checklist as well. That's one of the things we're giving away is the repair checklist that goes along with what somebody else was asking for earlier. Can you help me with financing a home from a state you do not lend in? Not at this time. We're only working in places that we actually have direct lending relationships with. So I apologize about that, Zelda, but not right now. So yes. Okay, yeah, out-of-state investing. Cool. Any other questions that people have, please type them in. Also type in and let me know what you're interested in for next week's topic. As well as, again, please, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. We're working on trying to pass that 4,000 mark and would love to have you part of it. So additional questions, please type them in. I want to make sure Tuli Does that help? Okay, yes, makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Wonderful. If more questions, please type them in here. We're happy to help you out. In the meantime, again, go download our Do Hard Money, our repair checklist. I think it'd be really helpful for you, and we're here for you. So we'll be here same time, same place next week, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If this was helpful, please let me know. Please type in the comments this was helpful or you learned something today. If you're interested or want to do the BRRRR strategy, please type that in as well. We want to get an idea of how many people that's actually interesting to actually just skip the phase of getting the skip the phase of flipping the properties or wholesaling the property and taking it right into a BRRRR type strategy. Wholesaling remotely, Maurice, got it. Miss LaDonna, after the takeout financing, how is the equity in the property used to purchase another property? It's not. You're not using that because you don't need it. So what's happening is each time you're doing a deal, you're getting the repairs and you're getting the purchase price to buy that new property. And then the takeout financing is paying that off. So you have little to no money into that property. So your equity stays with the property, which is good for you. And then you will, then you can go do it again. You go find another property that qualifies. You get a hard money lender to do the purchase and the rehab, and then you can refinance out or get takeout financing again. Ms. LaDonna, does that make sense? If not, please put it in here. Zelda, yes, interested in BRRRR. Love it. John Ritz, thank you. Thanks for being here, John. Appreciate it. We'll be here same time, same place next week. Please let me know, John, what you'd like to see for a topic. Ms. LaDonna, please let me know if that's making sense to you, because I want to make sure that we're on the same page with this and everybody's clear on how the BRRRR strategy works. Just getting a drink here. If you've got some questions, feel free to type them in. Want to get these answered for you. I want to make sure everybody understands how BRRRR works, how you can take advantage of that. Again, they're two separate loans. You're getting a loan from hard money for the purchaser and for the renovation, and you're qualifying for a new loan that will pay off the hard money lender purchase, renovation, and costs. That hard money loan, that takeout financing loan will pay all those things off. You'll have equity in the property. You'll have more cash flow because that's at a lower interest rate, and that'll be a 30-year term. And then you go find another property, get another hard money loan that does the purchase, the rehab, get that loan paid off by getting takeout financing because it's taking out the hard money loan, or also known as a rate and term refinance. There's already equity in the property, and the lender will do it. See, lenders are not going to lend on a property in need of work. Lenders aren't going to lend on a property where you don't have the renter in there, those types of things. They want to make sure it's actually producing. They want to make sure it's a good property. Those are the things they're going to be looking for that type of investment. So you're using the hard money to fix up the property, and then with the hard money, then you're getting the takeout financing. Is the hard money the 80 or the 20? No. So Zelda, it's not an 80-20. That's how I used to do them, is getting 80-20. The hard money is, if you do it right, we'll do the purchase and the rehab, so it will do all of it. And then the takeout financing will pay off the hard money lender, which should include fees and costs, the purchase, the rehab, some payments, and those types of things. So the hard money should be doing all of it, and then the takeout financing is paying off what the hard money lender's into it. In some cases, you might have to get some credit card financing and put that into that, and then you'll get that paid off as long as you put in the correct amount of, as long as you document your repairs correctly. What the takeout financing lender wants to make sure is that all the money they're giving you is actually going into the property. They want to make sure you're not getting cash out. But you don't need that cash as long as you're doing the hard money to buy another property and then using the takeout financing. So that's what's really important here. The other cool thing about this is you're not stripping the equity out of the property. You're leaving the equity in there, which is better for you long term. Plus, it's going to create more cash flowing. Bula, I'm currently unemployed. I'm currently on an Airbnb condo, free and clear. It's worth $130. I owe $248 on the primary home at 4.25. I'd like to pay off my primary residence. What do you suggest? I also have cash to pay down my mortgage. Well, if you're not currently employed, it's going to be really difficult to get any type of financing unless you're talking about hard money. The problem with hard money is it's short-term funding, not long-term funding. So I think it really just depends on what you want to do. I mean, let's see, I owe $240 on my primary residence. I mean, the difficulty is if you took that money and you'd only pay down your primary residence, I guess the question is, why do you want to pay off your primary residence? It sounds like the better thing would be to keep renting your Airbnb. That could pay your loan. You're paying down your loan, plus you're keeping both properties. I think, Bulu, I think that's probably your better. But again, it's hard to. There's not a one size fits all type situation. I also have cash to pay down my mortgage. Well, I mean, you could sell your Airbnb condo and then pay it down. But I think if I was in an unemployed situation, what I'd rather do is keep all my cash and then use the cash to make the payments rather than paying off your loan on your primary residence would be my thoughts. You've got a great interest rate. That's really cheap money. Zelda, okay. Yeah, Bula, thank you. I hope that's helpful. And any other questions I can help out with, please chat them in here. We're going to be wrapping up here in just a minute, but want to help answer questions people have got. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Appreciate all of you being with us. Please be here same time, same place next week. If you're interested in these BRRRR strategies, please put it in the comments to be interested and what else you'd like to hear for same time, same place next week on a new topic.